Shalom, Kal Halal, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, Bashim Chakadash, double ones the apostles of great millstone, and Shalom to you brothers in the highways and byways doing the work sincerely and faithfully and continually fighting the good fight of faith. Lord willing will find that number to be delivered. Alright? So I'm going to revisit a post that I put up a while back. And this was the World Government Summit. Alright? And the lady that's speaking here was Piper Milligren. All right, and she kind of gives a little history of who she is. But once again, it's important to speak on this because it's going to segue right into right into the charagma. All right, and we're going to speak a little about that because I believe, a lot of people who are now turning over into the truth and listening and starting to understand certain things. I believe a lot of people are not really fully grasping the scripture when it says buying and selling. All right. So without further ado, let's play this quick clip and we'll get on into it.
Speaks to this kind of emergence of these regional powers and the emergence of the middle powers here, because we're hearing, quite frankly, don't force us into a corner here. Are they right?
Well, it may be a bit late for that. I remember talking to an Australian diplomat at one point about this break between the US and China and said, both sides are going to say, whose team are you on? And he said, our job is to make sure the question never arises. But the question has arisen. And so I think we have to go deeper. And it's not about the US versus China. It's about what underpins a world order is always the financial system. I was very privileged. My father was an advisor to Nixon when they came off the gold standard in '71. And so I was brought up with a kind of inside view of how very important the financial structure is to absolutely everything else. And what we're seeing in the world today, I think, is we are on the brink of a dramatic change where we are about to, and I'll say this boldly, we're about to abandon the traditional system of money and accounting and introduce a new one. And the new accounting is what we call blockchain. It means digital. It means having a almost perfect record of every single transaction that happens in the economy, which will give us far greater clarity over what's going on. It also raises huge dangers in terms of the balance of power between states and citizens. In my opinion, we're going to need a digital constitution of human rights if we're going to have digital money. But also, this new money will be sovereign in nature. Most people think that digital money is crypto and private, but what I see.
All right, so there you have it. There's going to be a massive shift in the financial use and the financial currency. All right, it's going to be digital, and we all know what that means. We all know what it means when she speaks of it being digital. And she spoke and she said, I'm going to say this boldly, meaning it's going to happen. And this is what this whole summit was all about. The World Government Summit. All the governments of all the world are at this summit. And she's breaking it down to them. And they're all privy to what's happening, All right. So let's go from there. This is Revelation 13 and 17. And it says, and we're getting right to the points here. And it says, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that have the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. All right. So as it is written, and that no man might buy or sell. Now, your first thought is, just going into the supermarket and buying food or going to the clothing store and buying clothing. That would be your first thought. And most people think that way. But they don't think any more further than that. But listen, what's actually going to take place, man, is going to be an all-inclusive, life-altering, movement where buying and selling is basically goods and services. All right. So let me go here real quick. So if you decide that you're going to rent from a landlord, all right, the goods is going to be what? The apartment. The service is going to be the landlord renting you that apartment. All right. So that being said, all this is going to now fall under the umbrella of the MOTB. It's not just going to be your department store purchase or your supermarket purchase. It's going to be right down the line. Your rent, your mortgage, your car payment, all these things that people are so used to doing. When they introduce the MO, it's gonna be all inclusive, man. And there's not gonna be any way around it. And this is why a lot of these, businesses and corporations, they're going to follow suit with this new way of currency, because it's going to be the only way it's, so-called financial services are going to be accepted. You ain't going to be going to the bank or getting a direct deposit anymore. I say a great portion of people who work get their check directly deposited into their bank account. Well, once they implement this new system, that's going to be done away with. So what are you going to do? You got a lot of men and women out there who are professing themselves that they're not going to take it because they listen and they think about buying and selling, but they don't put it on a grand scale where it's going to be everything that encompasses what you are and who you are and what you do. All right. You want to keep continuing driving that car that you got a payment for? You're going to have to convert to that new way of currency. You want to continue to live in that apartment that you got? You ain't going to just roll up on the landlord and give him cash. That shit ain't going to happen, because these banks and these financial institutions are not going to allow that anymore. All right? And if you don't have the ability to pay via the MO, the MOB, all right? I'm going to say MOB. Just to throw it off a little bit. These devils get their little algorithms going. But anyway, you ain't gonna be able to just come out your pocket or just go to the bank and get a ATM machine, and that's gonna be done, man. So where does that leave a lot of you people? It's gonna leave a lot of you people second guessing yourself, saying, you know what, I'm just gonna have to go ahead and take that thing. Because you're not rationalizing the fact that it's going to be more than just, like I said, your supermarket purchase, your department store purchase. It's going to be on a grand scale, a worldwide, global grand scale. If you do not have this means or this digital way of payment or receiving payment or giving payment, you ain't playing the game, man. It's game over for you. And we of the hopeful elect, we understand that. And this is why we put our trust in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Now the masses of people who don't believe in this thing, or who just are going off of what their leaders say, you're gonna end up taking that thing, man. You're gonna end up taking it. So it's about the goods and services. All right. This is Habakkuk 2:6. It says, "Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, Woe to him that increases that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay." Right. This whole thing about the money, the billions of dollars going, here and there, and the stimulus packages and stimulus checks, and vultures and all whatever they're doing, man. This is all strategically set up. All right. And it's not that there's a shortage of money. There's a shortage of product. There's a shortage of goods. Everything that you see out here, man, there's a shortage of it. Especially now, these cars and car dealers. You can get a car for a 1999 car that's gonna go for big bucks now. A little 4-cylinder, a little 3-cylinder, something real cheap. Gas is getting higher and higher. But going back to this thick clay, which is heavy debt, this is deliberately done, man. They're slowly putting a chokehold on these so-called American citizens, which they think themselves to be in good case when the government starts talking about stimulus checks and packages and, assistance, and bailouts, all these buzzwords, but they need to do this because now it's driving the inflation to hyperinflation. It's driving it right through the roof, man. So much so they're just about to sit down and say, all right, this is it. We're gonna introduce. Let's get it real quick. What she said again.
Yeah. Are they right?
Well, it may be a bit late for that. I remember talking to one. He said our job is to make sure the question never arises. World order is always the financial system. I was very privileged. My father was an advisor to Nixon when they came off the gold standard in '71. And so I was brought up with a kind of inside view of how very important the financial structure is to absolutely everything else. And what we're seeing in the world today, I think, is we're on the brink of a dramatic change where we are about to, and I'll say this boldly, we're about to abandon the traditional system of money and accounting and introduce.
They're about to abandon the traditional system of money and accounting. You see that? So we, brothers, we must be ready and be prepared because we're not going to be able to do a goddamn thing according to this system and according to the transition of this new method of currency. All right? So this is why we truly trust in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. And we're not worried and we're not in a sense of panic because we trust in the Lord.
Introduce a new one. And the new one, the new accounting is what we call blockchain. It means digital. It means
blockchain digital. All right. So it's here, man. It's here. And she said, I'm going to say this boldly. You can't get any, more precise or more concrete than that. So be on the ready. You people better be on the ready. It's just a matter of time before your whole world gets changed upside down. Where we at here? This is Revelation 14. I'm going to start at about 9. It says, and I heard and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and the image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture unto the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Okay? So those who receive that thing are going to fall into this lot. Fire and brimstone, torment, okay, indignation, wrath. These are all the things that are coming for all those who receive that thing. So once again, you don't take into account that this whole buy and sell thing is not just your average convenience store visit. It's going to encompass every single thing that you can possibly imagine. Your car payment, your rent, your mortgage, all these things. And what is one to do? One would talk a good game. Oh yeah, I'm not taking it. I'm not doing it. Not me, But they fail to realize they have no other power that's gonna help or deliver them from these said troubles and perils, man. Like I said, we trust in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. We look and hasten for all these things to come about. Because once this thing comes in, Donald Trump had a saying talking about warp speed, introducing the wall and all this, all this immigration shit. Well, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, as soon as he gives them the green light to do this, you're gonna see warp speed, man. We out of here. Because the scripture says, if you don't worship that image of that beast, you're gonna be killed, man. So what's it gonna be, man? What's it gonna be? Just because right now it doesn't seem as if, these things are true or these things are gonna happen, but when they do come to pass, what you gonna do? Buying and selling just ain't your regular buying and selling as you would think it, man. It's gonna be sweeping right across the board. That's when the rubber's gonna meet the road, and now we're gonna see who's who and who's really about the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Alright? So with that, I'm gonna keep it moving. Lord willing, I'll see you brothers in another show. I say shalom.